Ladies and gentlemen, this is KageKaze, and I'm bringing to you today some Guild Wars 2 footage. I would like you to go ahead and meet my Mesmer, level 30. And part of this video is because, well, I find that ArenaNet has done some great things to promote the game and to show newbies what to do and how to get into it. I find that it's not exactly perfect. And one thing I've noticed that's been a bit lacking on their wiki and online a bit has been crafting in general. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like I did with my Diablo 3 videos here. I'm going to do a little bit of crafting exercises. As you can tell, being only level 30, I'm nowhere near in-game, so this is going to be kind of novice crafting, but it should give you an idea of how it works in this game and how it might work in the future. And I'm going to give you some pointers and tips that might help you out in the long haul. Now, first and foremost, this is one thing you're really going to want to do. You're going to want to go into your options. I find no reason to have this off, and it's off by default. You're going to want to come in here into options. It's up here in the general options, you can see by the wrench, and you're going to want to turn on auto loot. Again, this is off by default. So what does that do? Well, whenever you kill something, or whenever you mine a node or anything like that, that automatically puts the loot in your inventory. Now you might be thinking, well, then how do I know what I picked up? Well, don't worry, it'll still show up on the side, and we'll go on that in a little bit more detail later. First off, what you're going to want to do is when you start, you're going to want to go into your starting area, and you're going to want to look around. This is the starting area for the Norn, and you want to find your merchant. So when you do, you're going to want to pick up a few things. You're going to want to pick up a salvage kit. When you're just starting off, you're going to want to get a crude one. As you can see, it's 32 copper. This can be a little bit expensive when you're just starting. So what you're going to want to do is do a little bit of your story quest, do a little bit of the heart quests around the area to get that up. Now, if you follow your story quest, chances are you're going to get a crude salvage kit from the story quest right away. So what you might want to do is just do your story quest and ignore the heart quests until you get that crude salvage kit, because that's going to help you with your inventory space, because inventory space is at a premium at the beginning of the game. So you're going to want to get your salvage kit, and the other things you're going to want to get are these harvesting tools. Now, unlike, say, World of Warcraft, which is where I have my experience in crafting, when you're gathering in this game, you do not have gathering profession. So in WoW, you had, herbing, you had mining, you had leatherworking, things like that. In this, you don't have any specific gathering. The leatherworking wasn't exactly a gathering profession. That was more of a killing profession. But in this, what you've got, instead, you're going to have tools to do the job for you. So what you've got here is you've got a harvesting sickle, a logging axe, and a mining pick. You're going to want to pick up one of each. Alright, so let me go ahead and go in here real quick, and I need a pick. So let's just go ahead and pick up a pick. Now what you're seeing here is I've got iron level, and this is a system that's kind of neat. Merchants out in the field are going to upgrade themselves according to your level, it appears. Because this guy here, if you come into him at level 1 and below level, I think, 25, he's going to have the proper item that you want. You're going to actually have copper for these. You'll have copper harvesting sickle, copper logging axe. Now, the way this works is that these items, and once you buy one, you're just going to go here, go into the pick. I'm going to double click it, and as you can see, there's a separate slot in your hero tab for these items. They do not take up space for your weapons or your inventory unless you're carrying duplicates. And the way these work is that instead of having a gathering profession, you use the tools basically. And as you can see, they have a finite number of uses. The picks and the axes have 100 uses, and the sickles have 50. And you might think, well, that doesn't sound fair. Well, let me kind of show you how this works. Once you've gotten yourself a tool, and I'm going to go into an area that's got a bit more items around it. I'm going to actually go up here to Dawnrise Pass, I think. Let's do that. And as you can see, I've already got some nodes around me, and this is great because I've got some copper and some wood here. In the lower right-hand corner, thankfully, they've got everything listed out there. If you're familiar with World of Warcraft, you know that this was not built into the game. You had to get a mod called Gatherer. In Guild Wars 2, this is all built in for you. Okay, so let me get to this node. And I'll just go ahead and take out the Guardian real quick here. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to use this ore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this tab right here. And here's the pick. You're going to want to keep an eye on that when I bring it back up. And keep an eye out over here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to right-click here. You can see click, and then here's 99, 98, 97. I got 3 ore from that node. So what happens is when you find one node of an ore, you are going to use up 3 durability on your item. And the same thing goes here for the tree. As you can see here, there's a 1, 2, and 3. Now here you see I actually got 4 logs from it, but I only used up 3 durability. So even though you have 100 usage, each node is going to take up 3 of that. The difference here is in the herbs here, the herbalism part, if you will. See this blueberry bush here, you can see I can gather with it. Now you can either click on the node or use your use key, as you can see, the gather key F. I'm going to just go ahead and hit that. You actually only use 1 of your sickles for gathering at these nodes. So even though you only get half the sickles as you do to axes and picks, you actually have more usage on the sickle itself compared to the axe and the pick. Okay? So that's how that starts off. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to town, because I know this is Holbrook, and here in the Trade Commons is where all the crafting is done. I'm just going to go there real quick. And I'm going to demonstrate exactly what happens here with what I'm going to show you next. Now I'm going to go into my inventory and show you why you want these salvaging kits and how this works. Now after you've gotten to a few nodes, you've done a bit of farming, you've probably killed a few monsters and looted them, your inventory is probably going to look something like this. You're going to have it full with a bunch of stuff. So here's what you use your salvaging kits. Now kits have different levels, as do the harvesting items themselves. I mentioned earlier that when you start off you're going to get copper, and I here have iron. Well, when you start off with the with the copper items, you can only mine copper ore, and you can only chop down certain trees and harvest certain bushes, all right? So here you see I have an iron pick. This allows me to mine iron ore, silver ore, and it says all other lesser metals. In this case, that the only other lesser metal is copper. So instead of leveling a gathering profession, you're just, as you're leveling up, you're going to start buying better tools, and the tools are going to start costing you a bit more. Okay, now when you come to town, this is the important part. You can buy the salvaging kit and the harvesting tools there at the beginning, as you saw, but once you've done a few quests and whatnot, you're going to get a currency here called karma. And that is honestly probably the best way to buy things, because karma I find is a little easier to come by than money, at least in the beginning, because one event will pay for some of your tools. So if I go in here and talk to, it doesn't matter which vendor, if it's a vendor that I've trained under or not, you can go to a vendor, ask to see his wares, and if you go into the second tab here, the kits and tools, you'll see that you can buy salvaging kits, and here's the copper ones I was telling you about. See, the mining pick is copper ore, the logging axe is aspen saplings, birch saplings, and eku saplings, and of course here you got blueberries, button mushrooms, onions, carrots, herb seedlings, potatoes, lettuce, quite a bit of stuff there. But you can see they're fairly cheap, 21 karma to buy these. That's usually just an event or two, and you can get that back fairly quick. Alright. Your salvage kits, much like the harvesting tools, have different levels. Here I have a basic. The crude one is very low. You're going to start with the crude because you're going to want the inventory space. But once you get the ability to start buying these regularly, you're going to want a basic kit. Simply because the basic kit allows you to get rarer materials. As you see here, it has a 10% chance of rare materials, whereas the crude one does not. This also has a 20% chance of recovering upgrades. In case you're wondering, upgrades are things like here on these boots I have a minor rune of vampirism. If I were to salvage this with any other kit, I would have no chance of getting that back. I could get that back with a 20% chance using this basic, but I have a fine one that I would rather use, which gives me a 40% chance of getting that item back. These are the things you want to keep in mind. If they don't have mods, you're not going to want to worry about that. So first things first, I'm going to show you something that's going to make your life easy when it comes to harvesting. All right, if you've gone to a few nodes of ore, trees, if you're doing all three like I usually do, I figure if you can have all three items and gather all three, you might as well gather them all. There's no point in not picking them up unless you don't have the money. But once you've gathered them, you notice, look at this inventory. It's completely ruining my inventory space. I just happen to have a few bags, so it's not as bad for me. But when you start off, you've only got your backpack. You might only have a 4-slot bag. So what you want to do is familiarize yourself with this little gear icon here. If you click on this, there's this button here that says Deposit All Collectibles. If you click on that, notice how a whole bunch of stuff just went away. All of my ore and all the stuff that I can use to craft just completely went away. These have been deposited into a bank that I can use for crafting later. Now once you've done that, you've got more space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start showing you the basic salvage kit. Now this is something I didn't know when I first started off, and I probably lost a lot of materials, especially for tailoring. Tailoring doesn't have anything to harvest for. You have to get your stuff from cloth scraps or off the enemy. Basically, you're going to find some items that you can simply use, but you're going to have to salvage most of it. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So I double-clicked on this basic salvage kit here. And I'm going to go through my inventory, and what you're looking for are these trophy items, like here. You'll notice this is gray. This is something I can't do anything with. You're better off just selling it. But notice here I've got this shredded garment. This is important, especially for a tailoring profession. Or you can see that it's a salvage item. This is the important part. This is something that's telling you that you can use a salvage kit on it. So I'm going to take my kit, I'm going to go here, I'm going to click on it, and there we go. I now have a jute scrap, and I can refine that further into bolts and whatnot. And you can even see there it is. It says crafting material, armor smith, blah, blah, blah. All right, now other items, these are gray. And okay, there's an upgrade. Now I have a weapon here that I'm not going to use. This is a short bow. You'll notice that it doesn't have any mods on it, so I really don't care which kit I use on it. Now I'm not sure if later on they might, if the strength of the weapon, for example, going from blue to green or even to purple, if you might get better items off of it from better salvaging kits. I can't speak for that yet. I haven't gotten that far. But at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and salvage this with a basic kit. And as you can see there, I got a softwood log from that. So I'm going to go on and make sure that what I salvage is not better than what I have. So this is not as good, so I'm going to get rid of that. I got iron ore from it. This is gray, can't do anything with it. Shredded rags, okay? That gives me, see, look at that, 3 cloth for each one of those. This is where I failed in the beginning, not realizing what the power of the salvaging kits were. I didn't realize that those items were meant to give you the crafting materials. I thought they were simply just stuff that you salvage, that you sell. Sorry, not salvage, but that you actually sell. And the same thing here with these hides, tattered hides. Salvage, there you go. I got some rawhide leather right there. I'm going to move this over a bit. As you can see, this takes up quite a few of my kits, so you're going to probably want to have more than one as you start salvaging more and more. The rest of these are pretty gray. Let me see. Here's a riptide. We're going to go do that. Leather scraps. And I've got a mace here I don't need with ore. Now let's just take a look at this staff real quick. I'll compare it to the one I am currently wearing. It won't compare when I'm on the salvaging kit. So what I did is I moved off to a blank spot. I right-clicked to get rid of the salvage item so I don't accidentally salvage what I don't want to. Now I'm going to look at it. And as we can see here, it's got some nice mods, but I prefer the weapon damage for now. I'm going to go ahead and salvage that. I don't need it. So let's go down, salvage it, and I got some logs. Once I've done that, I can come up to options, deposit the collectibles, they're gone again. And what I'm going to do is go here to a vendor, and I'm going to go to sell. And pretty much everything that's gray now, you can just go ahead and get rid of. You don't need that stuff. This is some free money to you. Now lastly, you may see I have this item here, a tiny icy bag. Anytime you have a bag, just double click on that. That's just going to give you raw materials and items. Those are wonderful. I know that's probably pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to go ahead and mention it anyway. Now something I am going to show real quick here is the crafting. Now you can go into any crafting stations. I'm going to go into this in a bit more detail in a moment, but I want to show you what happens when you deposit collectibles, just so you know what you're getting into. Every crafting station has, or crafting vendor has a station. So you can see here I have a weapon smithing station. Let's kind of move around here so you can kind of see this. Any other vendors here? Here's an armor smith. You can see I can do the armor smithing station. And over here, this is jewel crafting. You can see I can use the jeweler station. It doesn't matter which one I pick. This character happens to be a weaponsmith and a tailor. And I'm going to go to the jewel crafting station. Okay. Well, you can see here, I can't do anything with production because I'm not a jewel crafter. Can't do anything with discovery. Again, not a jewel crafter. But here's the two tabs you're going to be interested in. One is the bank. One is the collections. If you go down to collections, this is where all the stuff you deposited goes. So here it is. Everything is there. And what you might notice here is I have some greenwood logs over here. I've got 67 of them that, even though I tried to deposit them, and you can click on individual items if you want to deposit them. That's a wonderful thing about this system. You can right-click and deposit it. But you notice it's gray, and it's still not doing anything. Well, why? Well, if I go up here, I have 250 of those logs in here. Now, this is something that I hope is maybe just an oversight. I feel like maybe 250 might be a bit low because here's the thing. Everything you see here is shared across all of your characters. You don't have to worry about trading mats back and forth. As a single character, I can learn every profession. But if I don't want to do that and I have multiple characters, I can simply use this collection tab across all the characters. This collection tab is actually a second bank for you to make everything convenient. Because this is nothing but crafting materials. A few of these items, like these gems, are modifiers for weapons, but since there's jewel crafting, they are also crafting components. Now, when I say second bank, I mean that you actually have a regular bank. So I'm going to go there now. This is your regular bank, something you might be used to from, again, World of Warcraft, that being the one I know the best. And as you see, it's not very big, but it does allow you to put items into it that won't go into the collections tab. Like I have modifiers here and items that I can use for crafting. And I'm going to go ahead and put my logs in here for now. And you can buy more space by clicking on this little lock. It's not easy to see, but if you click on that, you can buy it with gems. And gems are something, of course, you can get from the Black Lion Trading Company. I'm not going to go into that in the scope of this video, though. Okay, so now that I've gone over that, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a character that hasn't crafted yet to kind of show you how this goes. I know what professions I want to make him, so we're going to do that now. Let's go ahead and log out to the character select screen. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up my engineer. All right, as you see, I brought my engineer. Even though he's human, I brought him to Holbrook, simply because I know it the best. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and deposit his items as well. I've got some salvage kits. Let's just do this real fast while I'm moving. And you'll notice here, since this character has no crafting, I can walk up to one of these guys, such as a weaponsmith. You'll see here, this is how you learn to become a crafter. You'll say, please teach me how to become a whatever. And now, I believe it doesn't cost you anything to become anything at all. Now, what it will cost you is when you want to have more than 2 professions. I'll go over that here in a moment. But you can talk to any one of them and still use the vendor. And as you can see, you can still use the karma. Now, the downside here is, of course, this character doesn't have any karma. Also doesn't have any gold or silver. I can put some stuff in the bank. I can put some silver in the bank to help my professions along. It might be easier to use some karma for things. Now, the thing about using karma is that karma is typically locked to the character that buys it. Although these say account bound, so it's possible I might be able to just shoot them around. We'll have to see. It's really hard to say. Like here, doesn't say one way or the other, but they've been very particular about keeping the gold and the karma items separate. So we'll see how that goes as we go. So it's going to be kind of a learning experience because I haven't started a new profession since I got the ones I already have here. So let's just do this real quick and put my logs in the, well, actually no, I'm going to take my logs out of the bank because I'm going to need those. Let's free up some space. Very good. All right, now what I want to do with this character is, since he's kind of ranged, I'm going to make him a huntsman to facilitate that. So let's go ahead and deposit these items. And we need to look for the huntsman's icon. So we're going to go in here. They're not always the easiest to see, but this little arrowhead right here is the huntsman station. So we're going to go there. And we're going to see how this works. Let's go over here, Master Huntsman. Talk to him, her, and just say, please teach me to be a huntsman. You are now a huntsman. If you have the components, you can start crafting. See, didn't cost me anything. So you can ask questions, of course, about the craft, but we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to come over here to the station. Now, the beautiful thing about crafting items individually is that you don't really need gold to craft. So unlike WoW and Diablo, where you have to put money into crafting usually, you can simply just craft with materials. Don't have to worry about that. Now, the thing to keep in mind is some of these professions will overlap. So if I go here to refinement, you'll see I can make bronze ingots, and I can make green wooden dowels. I can do that on my weaponsmith. So even though my weaponsmith deals with mostly metal weapons, I can actually do stuff with wood. So the thing you want to keep in mind, like, I don't get a lot of experience from my weaponsmith making these items anymore. So if you're planning on making another profession on either one character or another character, and you are about to make a whole bunch of low-level stuff on your main, you might want to consider swapping out to another profession just to be able to level it. Because what you're going to see here is I'm going to make a bunch of stuff. I've got, let me see, some tin already in my collections. I don't think I have... Tin is copper. Let's just go ahead and buy more of that. So here's your crafting station. Let's see what we can make here. I can make war horns, torches, short bows, rifles. As an engineer, I'm more concerned with rifles, pistols. I can't really use the bows. Inscriptions. Now let me go over these real quick. What inscriptions are modifiers for weapons. Now these base weapons, you can see, I'm going to go into, say, rifle here. You'll notice you don't need any inscriptions or anything like that to make it. These are very simple base level equipment. Inscriptions will be used in discovery and once you discover for crafting. In this case, you can see I have a malign green inscription. This is used in crafting of weapons with conditioned damage. Then we have mighty, crafting weapons with plus power, vital, crafting weapons with plus vitality. This is where the discovery process will come into effect. You'll be able to find more. I'm going to go over that here once we craft some base stuff. Oh, it looks like I can also make harpoon guns. What is my ranged? Harpoon guns, good. Okay, so let's see, crafting components. So this is how this works. You can take a base weapon like a rifle and you'll see it's put out into parts. You need to make the stock and then the barrel, and sometimes you need another component. Once you have those, you can make the main weapon. Of course, in order to make the stocks and whatnot, so let's go to a rifle stock here. This is where we need wood. Okay, from there we need to say, well, okay, where do I get wood? Well, it's here under refinement. Refinement is where you're going to start on almost any profession. So I'm going to deal mostly with wood. So let's see, I don't need dowels right now. Those dowels are going to be used in making inscriptions, so let's make some planks. I don't need 107 planks. Let's see, do I have many of them? I probably have some. As you can go up here and see, I'm just going to click on one and take a look. Looks like I already have 40 planks. But let's go ahead and make 10. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make 20 to show you something. As you craft, this is going to speed up. If you make a large order, it's going to be slow at first, and then it's going to start picking up speed. So if you want to make a bulk order, this is great because it saves you a lot of time. If you don't want it to make a lot, you may not want to do that because it's going to be harder to fine-tune it. So you might want to make small batches at a time. Now, you're going to see here in a moment too why it's good to start refinement on a newer artisan, because you can see here I have no experience. I'm about to get a bunch of that, and what you're going to want to notice is here I'm level 4 and I'm really close to level 5. Crafting is a great way to get experience as well. So I'm not going to craft all, I'm just going to craft 20. Just go ahead and do that now. You see quite a bit of experience at first, and now it's picking up speed. There it goes. There you go. See, and I also got about 10% of my next level. Not quite, but almost. I also got 5 levels from making 20 of those. Okay, so what else am I going to need? Well, I'm going to need some dowels. Do I have any? No. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. And that requires planks. I've got 60 planks. Only needs 1 plank to make 1 dowel. So here, as you can see, and since I didn't go over that, the number here on the left is how much I need of the item, and of course there's the item's icon, and what you see here is the description and how much you have overall. This includes in your collection tab and in your personal inventory. So I'm going to need a couple of these actually. Those 20 that I made, let's just go ahead and let's turn them into 20 dowels, shall we? Let's do that now. Wow, look at that, level 10. Bunch of green dowels, and look at the experience. Very nice. So, what can I do? Let's just go ahead and start making weapons now. I need a rifle. Okay, so Vial of Weak Blood, this is something you're going to get off of monsters in the field. Most of these are going to be. When you get into the inscriptions, Venom Sacs, Weak Blood, and Bone Chips. Those are all from monsters. In fact, you can even tell, look at that, I only have 14 Bone Chips. I don't really get a lot of those, unfortunately. Get more of the blood, but I've also been fighting a lot of creatures with Sacs, so there we go. So let's go ahead and make a rifle to replace the one I've got. I need a barrel, a stock, and I've got the blood. So let's go ahead and go up here. Thankfully, usually these are sorted by the type of weapon you want to make. As you can see, horn, pistol, rifle, torch, whatever. So you see here I have a rifle stock. And of course you should see, where's the other one? Rifle stock and, bronze rifle barrel. So it's up here under bronze instead of green. Under weaponsmith it's a little easier because you'll actually get something like sword hilt, sword blade, and it makes it really easy to find it. In this case they're just separated by bronze and green. So let's do a rifle barrel. That takes 3 of my bronze ingots. And this is why, of course, as you can see, I can smelt bronze. You might have thought earlier, well, why deal with metalworking if I'm making wooden weapons? Well, you can see that it's going to have a little bit of metal for binding. So I've made my barrel. I'm going to make my stock now. Craft that. And then now I can go down here to rifle, and as you can see, the number next to it is updated to show I can make one of this item. And I'm going to go ahead and craft it. Boom. And you get a decent amount of experience for making the completed item. You can make a whole bunch of these kind of material pieces, and those don't usually give as much. It's the actual making of the item that's going to give you the most. Alright, now let's go into these inscriptions, because this is the next kind of level here. You've now seen how the basic crafting works. Pretty straightforward, right? If you've crafted in other games, it kind of makes sense. So now we're going to go into discovery. This is the important part, and this is only the beginning, because this is honestly, this part is fairly intuitive, and there's going to be more that you can make later. Let's go ahead and make one of each. I'm going to make a green inscription here, and this is for vitality items. I'm going to make one of those. I'm going to make one of these for might, and one of these for condition damage. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, since I'm using rifles, I am going to make the materials to make 3 rifles. Okay, so 3 barrels, 3 stocks. Let's just go ahead and do that now. Barrel, 3. And the way this works is the first one is full length, the second one is 50%, and then every additional one is 50% after that. So you're reducing the crafting time by 50% for each new item. And now let me see, we got the barrel. Let's go ahead and get the stock and make 3 more of those. And just from what I'm doing here, you can see that I'm almost level 15 just by doing this. So what I'm going to do now is going to go to Discovery, because you can see down here, and I'll just go ahead and show you, none of these use those inscriptions that I made. They all use something else. So what you want to do is take a basic recipe. I'm sorry, I'll go back here, kind of show that. Like, if I go in the rifle, I'm going to take this basic recipe, basically the stock and the barrel. And then what I'm going to do is, instead of putting in weak blood, I'm going to put in something to modify it. So let's do this. I'm going to put in a stock. And as you see here, oh, there's 24 known recipes. Okay, well, what happens if I put in the bronze? Okay, that reduces it to 12. So that lets you know there's a bunch of things you can do with the green stock. Let me see. What happens if I take that out? You see, okay, there's only 12 you can do with the barrel. So the stock doesn't matter in that case. So now what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and take one. Let's take the plus vitality. And as you can see, it's changed. There's your icon. It looks like something you can craft to save the recipe. And here it will also tell you what rating you need to make the craft. So you can put together a discovery, and it will tell you if you can do it or not based on your level. Now this rating here is of course what you see up here on the left. If you don't meet the rating, of course, it'll be in red, and at least you know you can make something, but you're going to have to get the parts. Now keep in mind, when I put these in here, you're also seeing below how much of each of these items you're going to need, because sometimes you're going to need more than one, even though you're just doing a recipe for one. So here on the right hand side is how much you actually need. I need one, and on the left is how much you have. So I have one, or I need one, have one, need one, have three. Let's go ahead and craft it. You may have noticed that my experience in the craft just went up about 2 or 3 levels. Discoveries are an excellent way to gain levels for your craft. Even if it's a very simple recipe, you might be well served to learn what you can by using Discovery. So it might not be a weapon you use. Like in this case, this is a rifle with vitality on it. I'm not overly interested in a rifle with vitality on it myself, but I make it because, hey, look, I just got a bunch of experience from making it. So there we go. And as you can see, the requirements show up. I can now make these in bulk now if I have the parts. I'll go ahead and show that. And as you can see here, I'll compare it here real quick, since I have one of each. I have a bronze rifle. There we go. I have a vitality, and that's not the right one, is it? I think it is. Mighty Bronze. Let's go down here. Production, rifle. Yes, vital, and okay, I didn't realize the Mighty was the basic. Very nice with power on it. So let's just take a quick look then at the difference. So we've got the Mighty 161, and look at this. Even though it was a vitality mod, you'll notice that the base weapon damage went up. The Mighty Bronze has 161 to 197. The Vital has 180 to 220. Now the others are probably going to have the same base damage. This 180 to 220 is probably what we're going to see for all the other ones I'm about to discover. You'll also know that the requirement level just went up as well. That's part of it. Okay, so let's go back in here. You'll see under Rifle, there it is, Vital. So now that if I have the pieces, I can make it. So we're just going to go ahead and do that again for the other two. There we go, 180 to 220 with some power behind it. And as you can see here, if I put this in here, it'll tell you that there's only 7 possible combinations with that. So you can start off with whatever you want. You'll notice it'll tell you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. A slight transition here as I had to deal with a little bit of background noise. No problem. While testing out the first half of this video, though, unfortunately, I found out that my recording software had a slight issue here with Guild Wars, which caused duplicate sound from the game audio and my microphone, which apparently what happened is instead of Bandicam recording the game audio, it recorded my microphone audio and then also recorded my microphone audio, which caused them to reverberate with each other, which looks salvageable. So I'm going to continue. Minor technical difficulties, I apologize for that. But as I was going on here, I was going to say that you can start with whatever order you want for these items. And you'll notice, of course, it'll keep telling you what kind of possibilities there are. In this case, if I put in the but here, there's a stock, you'll see it says, hey, there's 2 possible combinations now. And as you saw earlier, there's several combinations with this stock. So let's take that out and put in the barrel, and you'll see there's only 1. But I can't craft it because I'm still missing the vital component, which is a stock. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and craft it. And there we go. We have made discoveries. So, and what you'll notice now is much like Warcraft, the items will start to change in color based on how much experience you can expect to get from them. These are start turning a light green, which means I'm now not going to get as much experience from these items. Since I already have several of them, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and continue and make items here for discovery. So I've made some rifles. I also use pistols, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few of those. I've got plenty of blood, so I have no problem with that. I'm going to go ahead and actually make a pistol by itself, and then let's just go ahead and modify some. Now, I don't have very many chips, so I don't think I'm going to make any of that, but I have, I think, plenty of blood and tiny venom sacs. Go ahead and make these. So let's craft 1 of each. And as you can see, I could actually swap away from the item I was crafting to make a new item. Okay, so what do we need? I need pistol frame, pistol barrel. So let's go up here. Green pistol frame, so I'm going to make a regular pistol and 2 mods, so 3. And as you'll see here, now that I've leveled up enough, there's new items available to craft. Problem is, as you can see here, as I mouse over it, it requires a rating of level 25. So a few levels prior to being able to craft it, it will let me know, hey, you're about to learn these. So now I have the ability to just gain 5 more levels and start making the better stuff. At least I know it's there, so the game at least tells you that, hey, look, there's more ahead of you. So where was I? Let's do the pistol barrel. I believe that was 3. Go ahead, craft, craft, craft. Alright, so from that, we're going to go ahead and just make a regular pistol for comparison's sake. Didn't I make bronze pistol barrel? What did I just make? I made something I didn't mean to make. Let's go ahead and go... I made rifle barrels. Right, I meant to do that. Oh well, I can make more rifles now. And I just saw up there was a experience. You may have seen it here just a moment ago as well. It showed the experience and a plus additional experience. Those are critical successes in crafting. When you craft, you have a chance to, well, critically succeed. What does that mean? Well, you're not making more of the item. Like I've seen some games where if you critically craft, you make more than one. I know Final Fantasy XI did that. You critically craft, you might make, instead of 1, you make 2. Instead of something that has 10, you might make 13. In this, what happens is you get bonus experience, and you might have a chance to refund some of the materials. So critical crafting means you can start making more items because it just gave you some back. This can be affected by the world PvP, and I'm going to show that here real quick. This is the world versus world screen, and as your realm does well in world versus world, as you can see, here's the servers that are involved. Mine is Devona's Rest here, and you might get, is it under, I think it might, yeah, under artisan. Chance of increased chance of critical success. So we have a 2% increased chance to critically succeed in crafting. So it's a good thing to be on a realm that's doing well in world versus world. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and make one of these regular pistols for comparison's sake, and let's go ahead and let's see. There's 12 with that. There are 12 with that as well. So if I put them together, wow, there are 12 combinations with the green frame and the bronze barrel. Okay, let's do might. There it is.
This is a bad time to be traveling.
And let us do condition damage. Just gonna do that. 1 possible. Do that. Craft. There you go. Level 24 didn't quite make it to 25. Let's see what these things need. Tiny scales, which I don't have a lot of. Tiny claws that I have a bit more of. and tiny totems. Now you can also see that the refinement has turned white. This still gives me experience. I can still make these and get some, but it's going to be a lot lower than before. And this actually can go down a lower level. White is not the lowest. It goes lower than that. But you can see here also my components are not going to give me as much either. I'm going to start getting more from making these regular items. So I can use harpoon guns, right? So we're going to do that. Rifle stock and a green harpoon. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, I'm going to make 3 stocks. And we needed harpoon, right? Oh, interesting. Strings are for bows. That's nice. Torch handles. There's the green harpoon. Craft 3 of those. Go ahead and make a simple one. There we go. That got me to level 25. But before I go ahead and celebrate that, I'm going to go ahead and not fail at this real quick. Make one of each. And you'll just kind of go through it. We're going through the motions at this point. We're going to add the items that we need. Same thing. Craft. Discovery. 1 whole level from the discovery. Close. Do it one more time. Craft, discovery, and another level. So there we go. So let's look at what we can make now. These are new ones. Here we had vital, power, and condition damage. These new ones provide toughness, precision, and healing power. So completely different mods, but they are going to be of a higher item level, I do believe. We're going to find that out here in just one moment. And as you can see, just to look at this real quick, as you can look at this item here, the mod, you can tell that you can already see what level you're expected to be. These green inscriptions can actually be used by artificers, huntsmen, and weaponsmiths. So you know that there's 3 different professions that will be making these and using them. So you can make them, and if you have an abundance and you realize, oh, I have too many, I didn't need them anymore as I was crafting, give them to a different crafter. There you go. You've got 3 different crafting professions that can use that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make one of each so that we can compare it to the current items I have and get my levels up a little bit more. And as you can see, these are giving me quite a bit more experience than everything else I've been doing. And I'm going to go ahead and do this with the rifle, which is probably a good thing that I made the barrels by mistake. So I've got one of each, so I need 3. I'm just going to need 3 stocks then. And I keep moving the camera back and forth. Sorry to anyone I might make sick with that. Right? Okay. Oops, what should I make? I made the barrel, so I need the stock. So green rifle stock. Oh, I can't make as many. I need 2 more planks. So let's do that real quick. Let's go to refinement. And you see here, they're no longer white, they're gray. And this will give us a chance to see if we get more experience from gray. It's probably going to be minor if we do. I don't think they cut you off from experience altogether. So I need 2 more planks. Ah, they do. No experience from gray. So white, yes, you still get experience. Gray, no. Alright, so where is the green rifle stock? Craft all. There we go. And now let's go ahead and go into discovery. And just like before, same thing. Exact same type of recipes. And as you see, there we go. Levels are going up quite quickly. Now keep in mind, this character has no cash. I had 5 silver on this character when I started this. None of this has required money. It's not even required karma. It's just required raw materials. And if I needed to give this character money, I could just go into the bank here, and you can see here, here's the money that's in my bank. There's nothing. I can deposit and withdraw money. So you can see here, click deposit. There you go. Alright, so I've made the items I need. Let's go ahead and go back under production. Doesn't look like there's anything new. I'm level 36, no new recipes, which is a shame. But let's go ahead and look at the power of the items I made. I have several rifles here. So let's see, condition damage, so there's toughness. So you see the condition damage is 160, the toughness is 201, and this requires level 15. So at any time too, I can start breaking these down and I can get some materials back. But of course, just like any other game that you would craft on, it's not going to be efficient to do that. It does give you a return on your investment, allows you to keep crafting if you want to or need to. But honestly, your best bet is not to craft something to break it down, because you're not going to get all the materials back, obviously. I've used multiple pieces of wood, multiple pieces of copper, and I'm only going to get one or the other back, probably. So as you're crafting, you will get what you want, what you need from this menu interface here. As you saw, recipes will come, they'll be read, they'll tell you, hey, you could possibly learn these, you need some levels. The other ways to get recipes are from vendors. Your vendor here specifically, if I go to here, this is inscriptions, you can see you can actually buy some inscriptions here for karma that are recipes.
Thank you.
I'll show you another as well. You're going to want to go and look out in the world, because as you're doing quests and unlocking areas, you're going to want to talk to your heart vendors. Because let's go over here. This is the Iceworm Cavern. Now I've already done all these quests, so I've got the heart vendor open. When you complete one of these heart quests, you can talk to the person that's represented by the heart, and they will start selling you things for karma. So coming up to this guy, if you haven't completed the quest, he won't sell to you, but here he is, he will sell to me now. And as you can see here, look, he's got a recipe for worm stew. So that's a cooking recipe. So what you want to do is go out into the world, do the quests, and when you've done the quest, do not forget to talk to the heart vendor. This will allow you to find more recipes that you can use to craft. And I can show you here from my crafting tab, you know, I've got quite a bit of stuff here now. Some items I learned through these recipes, which is quite nice. Others I learned from leveling up. Now I'm going to go over one last thing, and as you can see, I just want to kind of point out that look at the experience I gained here into level 5. I've gotten quite a bit of it just from sitting here and crafting. The last thing I'm going to show you, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make anything with it though, is I'm going to go in the bank, and occasionally you're going to find these things here. Let's move things around so it's easy to find. There we go. I've only found a couple, as you can see. And these are glacial slivers and destroyer slivers. These are two items I've just found randomly in the world. And as you can tell, they show you what professions can use them. So this can be used by artificers, by leather workers, and tailors. This one can be used by the same, but also weaponsmiths. So this item in particular, I cannot use on this character. I can put it on another one. Let's just go ahead and we'll do that real quick just to show it off. Let me put these back in the bank and kind of show you what you're expecting here. Okay, here we are. I'm going to go into the bank, pull these out. Now, one thing I'm going to mention here, make sure I read that right. You'll notice that there's actually different levels required for different professions. Like the artificer only needs 50, leatherworker and tailor needs 75 for this. So I actually can't use this because my tailor is not 75. But this one here, this one can be used by a 50 artificer. Can be used by a 50 weaponsmith, which I'm a 50 weaponsmith. But you can also notice that it can be used by level 1 tailor and leather workers. So my weaponsmith I don't think can really use this, but I might be able to do it on my tailoring. We'll find out here in a moment. I'm going to go into discovery, and you'll see that the item that I don't have the level requirement for doesn't show up here, even though I have it there. This can be, well, that's by tailoring, not weaponsmithing. So here I only have one that can be used. But if I put it in here, this tells me I can only learn one recipe from it. And it has a required rating of 50. And I can learn it, I can use it, but I need to find out what the other pieces are. So I don't really know what the destroyer sliver is for. I'm probably going to have to go out and look it up, or I could just randomly start throwing things in there. If I wanted to find out if it worked with anything I can make here, such as my spears or swords, I could start making pieces here, start doing basic crafting component. Put them together, see what works, see what combines. Alright, this is, let's see, for the tailor, I'm going to look at that up real quick as well. Tailoring is... Where is tailoring? And there is cooking and leatherworking, and there is tailoring, right there. Little scissors. Go into discovery, see both of them are available here. There's only one possible connection there, but I need more compatible ingredients. This one, there is one. Do not have the required ingredients yet. But I could experiment. We've got all sorts of items here. I can just make headpiece, tunic piece, like just to do it. Now keep in mind there are some items here. You'll notice that even though this says I can make 9 of this, well, that's too high a rating. You'll notice I can make 9 of it, but I can't craft it because it's too high of a rating. Here I can make these. What I haven't really shown you is that some of these things you're going to need additional items for. For example, here the jute breeches. Wow, cannot talk today. It's quite all right. So I have the bolts. That's great, but I need these spools. This is something you're going to have to buy from your vendor, and this is something you'll want to get acquainted with. Go here to buy supplies. These are the items you can buy, and obviously for money, not for karma. I did show that a bit earlier when I had to buy some ore in order to smelt copper. So there you go. That's how you do it. Everything you need should be right here. You should not have to really go anywhere else except for to farm additional final materials. So to kind of show how you can play around with this, I'm going to go ahead and craft one of what I can. Give myself 23 in my tailoring. But I can go here in Discovery now and say, okay, what can I make? Well, there you go. I don't have to start throwing each item in there because automatically this thing has told me I can't do anything with anything I've made. This is a level 1 recipe, tailoring level 1. But none of these items can be used in combination with a sliver. Everything just turned gray. It doesn't matter what I try. If I put it here, it'll even tell me no possible solutions. It's all gray. I can't do anything with it. So I have to go in here and try and find something that will work. I'm going to go ahead and craft a bag here. Let's see. Well, obviously the bag can't be used in Discovery. It doesn't even show up here. So there's a lot of tweaking I'm going to have to try. Let's just try making a basic coat, right? Can I put that in? Can that be used in Discovery? No, it cannot. So finished product cannot be put into Discovery, it looks like. You have to put in pieces. So even though I have an item that I could learn from level 1, I do not have the materials quite required to do it yet. And that's how it works. So I might go into another video at some point to go over some of these items if I ever find more and find the recipes for them. Something I might be interested to do. But I will definitely follow this video up if I find there to be more relevant information as regards to crafting. When I did my Diablo 3 ones, I just kind of wanted to show the expectations as you went because obviously you could not reset your crafting in Diablo 3, so it just to me felt like it was best to just go through everything and record it as I went through it because I couldn't relive that crafting experience. With this, the one thing I did not go over earlier is that you can learn as many crafting professions you want as on one toon, alright, on one character. I'll show you here real quick. If I go into crafting, you have 2 to start with. You can have 2 active at any one time. but you can learn more. In order to do that, you're going to talk to one of these vendors over here.
Oh, traveler.
I can tell him to please teach me to be a jeweler. What I have to do, though, is deactivate one of my other professions. Now, when I do that, I do not lose any progress that I made on my other professions. I keep that progress, and I can get that progress back by going back to the original vendor and paying some money. So I'm going to go ahead, let's take a look at what the price is here. I'm level 30, let's see how this works. I'm going to deactivate my weaponsmith for now. Okay, that's not a problem. Alright, I'm now a jeweler. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the weaponsmith. Find out what it's going to cost me. Talk to the weaponsmith. Boom. Please teach you to become a weaponsmith. Now you can see up top here it says available, this is my current funds, and how much it's going to cost me to bring it back. This will more than likely scale with your level. A lot of things do that. Waypoints increase in cost as you level, and this will probably increase. So it's only 5 silver at this level. Go ahead and reactivate me. And I can actually choose to deactivate tailoring now if I want to, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of jewel crafting. There we go. I have now returned back to my tailoring and weaponsmith. See, they're both right there. You can go back and forth at will. Just takes a little bit of money. And that's a beautiful thing. One character can have all the professions if you want. Or you can spread the love with multiple characters. And the best part, as we talked about before, is going into the weapon station, and everything in these collections is usable by every character that you have. Alright, hopefully, well, this has been a fairly lengthy explanation into crafting. I know it's been, I think, about an hour long at this point. Hopefully, all the information has been very useful and hasn't drone on too much for you. If you do like it, please feel free to thumb up and comment. I am interested to know if this information was found relevant, if there was anything I could do to improve it or make it more streamlined for your taste. If you have any questions, please, by all means, leave those in the comments section. Email at theshadowpost@gmail.com if you want. I will be more than happy to answer either in comments, or if it's something that is a significant topic, I can even make another video on it. Always more than happy to try and help out. I think Guild Wars 2 here has proven to be an excellent game. They're doing a lot of things right. They are borrowing a lot of concepts from other games, and they're doing it well. They are pretty much taking Blizzard shtick and making it work. I hesitate to say better, but they're getting there. It's really good systems that they're putting in here. And I'm more than happy to help out anyone that's interested in trying out Guild Wars, or who might be into it, might have questions. Even though, as you can see, I'm still only low level, but I do what I can. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, KageKaze signing out. I'll see you next time.